Oh, good morning and welcome to the KTZed Redemption. Wow, yeah, that was a force of habit right there. Welcome to KTZed Redemption, where it's always morning, even in the afternoon. I'm your host, Jay Edgar, and I'm joined again by the wonderful KTZed. Katie, welcome back. How was your week?
My week was wonderful.
Well, until I screwed up with our intro here. I screwed up twice on our intro because I didn't actually have the event set up on Restream there, so we were not streaming to YouTube right away. But I got that fixed. It looks like we are going. Everything's going right there. And as you can hear, coming back up off of this here, we've got two topics coming up off the top of here that right off the back that have to do with Canada. So I don't know if you caught that reference that we had going on here. We've had quite the news week this week. Last week I was sitting there thinking, okay, what can I do that doesn't have to do with Biden's speech? And this week we're just all over the place here. So, Neil Young and Joe Rogan got into it this past week. We saw some of the start of that coming up last week, of course, but you know, Neil Young, of course, being a Canadian rocker, is going to be the one who's going to come back and start this, and that's part of the reason that we started off listening to Canada's national anthem. Well, I sat back and got everything fixed because I'm a fucking boomer like that. But yeah, that's what we see going on with that and where that goes. That's going to be some fun. And there were some other people that got on board, and well, most of them I've never heard of. So we'll talk just a bit about that. Speaking of Canada, the Convoy has made its way all the way across Canada to Ottawa. So we'll be talking just a bit about what's going on with that, where that goes, what's happening with Trudeau right now, and look at some of the videos of some of the things that are going on with that. One of the big stories this week, one of the biggest stories of the week, is that Stephen Breyer has announced that he is retiring from the Supreme Court at the end of the term. This has some implications, and we'll talk just a bit about what's going on with that and where that goes and what happens with that now as we come along with that. It looks like the announcement actually came a day early via the MSM, so nobody else wanted to talk about this just yet. And of course, we'll talk about the nominees. One thing that's going to start coming up every week this week is we'll start looking at some of the midterm previews and some of the shakeups that have happened there. And we're just going to start making that a main topic for everything here because we're in that season. It's time. It's time to start talking about some of the midterm previews, including the fact that Pelosi is running again and Liz Cheney might not make it through because of her stance on January 6th. So we'll talk just a bit about that. Plus, the Ukraine is continuing. They're continuing to try to push the fear porn into everything here. So we will be talking about that and what that means and where that goes and well, what could happen with that and what they're trying to make you believe is going to happen with that. Plus, we'll round up with some surprise stupidity. And, going back to the old show, we've got a regular player in the surprise stupidity market today. It's somebody that's been on the topic before, so we'll talk just a bit about that. Over here on KTZed Redemption, thanks for checking us out live over on YouTube, DLive, Twitch, Facebook as well. Thanks for checking us out on all those platforms. I'm going to try and expand us out to some new platforms, and I am getting back into the audio platform as well. Unfortunately, by the way, it takes abso-fucking-lutely forever, for whatever reason, for YouTube to come back out and process everything. And that's part of the reason that I've been so behind on what's going on with the audio platform, because I have to wait for them to process it. Then I download the episode from them. And then I turn around and go back and put it back on there. So it's taken forever for them to do that, but I am trying to get back into it. I actually made last week's episode into audio platform ready to upload. I just never got around to uploading it there. But I mean, that's where we're sitting at right now. But thanks for checking us out on all those platforms. And we can't catch us live, catch us back on demand over on YouTube and over on BitChute.com. You can check us on both of those platforms. Or, as mentioned, on the audio platforms, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and the much aligned Spotify. You can catch us over on that one as well. So go and check us out over there. And make sure you check out turnsandpagesproductions.com, where you can find the Daily Ignoramus, the Breakdown with Birkenhoff, the R-Rated Conservative, the new upcoming show with Britt and Sean Hickman that was yet to be announced, and the Porch Boy. So go check that out as well. What a week. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
This is big insanity that we had coming off of this week. Like some
It's
stuff
all
that I
about
never thought that
Canada.
yeah, a lot about Canada too here. But of course, we've got the catch up as well on some of the stuff that we've got to talk about. So we can get right into that. Starting with Politico today here, a little bit of a throwback on the proxy voting argument that we had last year. Politico reports the Supreme Court has denied Kevin McCarthy's challenge to proxy voting in the House. So just a little bit of review on that. During the beginning of the Pinko Pox scare that we had going on with all the elderly people in the House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi made a rule that you could get somebody else to come in and vote for you as long as they made sure that they went back and voted. And that's been an embattled thing since the beginning. Since it started here. McCarthy tried to sue it, take it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said no. And I think I know why, but I wanted to get your thoughts on this.
Well, I really think that it's the Democrats just want to do less work. So if they can send an aide or somebody else in to do their job for them and they can sit their butts at home, why wouldn't they want to do that?
Or go out and campaign or something like that.
Yeah,
it is midterm season, so.
Exactly.
I think I understand why the Supreme Court said no to this, though. That's my big thing. I think having the Supreme Court make the rules for the House, I think that majorly steps over the separation of powers, like in a big way.
Yes and no. It's the whole reason we have the system we do is so they can oversee each other. So I don't think it's such a bad idea.
Possibly. Like I said, my big thing is I'm a bit worried about, coming across these separation of powers and going with that. But I also think that it's time for everybody to get down there and do their regular jobs. I know Green, when she was on Timcast, was bragging about the fact that she got a lot of the floor votes out of it that would have normally been a voice vote. And I do think that that's a part of what goes with the proxy vote, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Let's keep going here. Reporting from the Blaze today, classless. President Biden got in the news this week because he called Peter Doocy a stupid son of a bitch. Let's see. I thought I had the video of this. Yeah, I did. Apparently, he forgot that he was on a hot mic. Let's have a listen.
Why are you sending anyone 150 Ukraine copies? What do you think President Biden makes of that? Do you think he plays this a political liability?
That's a great asset. More inflation. What a stupid son of a bitch.
So the context of what was happening here is they had just they'd got done with the press conference, and the press pool was trying to. The White House staff was trying to shoo the press pool out, and then they're still, like they are, because he never answers questions. They're trying to get some of the questions back onto this, and there he is on a hot mic, Mr. Dementia himself. Which, I've been around people with Alzheimer's, and I do they have no filter.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of like it. It was kind of Trumpian to me, and I enjoyed the side of Biden. It's nice to hear him not scripted, because he's always so scripted. There's always puppeteers controlling everything he does. That was just him for a moment.
Well, and of course the right-wing media had to get on this and tell us how evil and bad that it was that he didn't like. Why? He told us how he feels.
Exactly. I don't think so.
Grab one from the USA Today. Kristi Noem has announced a proposal to ban most abortions in the state, following suit with Texas. Noem is attempting to craft a law to push it through the South Dakota legislature to make a 6-week abortion ban as soon as a heartbeat is detected. And of course, just like Texas, to try to have this taken care of by private citizens through lawsuits.
This is a great thing. Absolutely. More of this. You know how I feel about female politicians, but Kristi Noem, she's a keeper. You keep her around. She's doing the right thing. This is not the way most female politicians act, though.
Yeah.
But this is great. Less dead babies anytime is good in my book.
Yeah, the only problem that I've ever had with these laws is the fact that they allow people who are not directly aggrieved parties to make a lawsuit. I don't agree with that part. But
absolutely. But the father of the child should absolutely be able to stop an abortion from happening 100% of the time.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the direct aggrieved party. And, you and I have had a conversation in private, and you know how I feel about that. You know
Yeah,
exactly how I
absolutely.
feel about that. So we will see what happens with that. Let's grab one here. A little bit of news from our neighbors to the north here from Canada. Mel C tweets out, "Shame on Walmart Canada. This is discrimination based on nothing but government lies. Hashtag boycott Walmart." Because Montreal area Walmart, starting January 24th, due to a government mandate, we will ensure that all customers 13 and up are properly vaccinated when entering the store. Walmart replies, of course, "Hi, as directed by the government of Quebec, we will implement a vaccine passport at our stores in Quebec. We ask our customers' patience and understand as we continue to ensure a safe and efficient customer experience." Now, when I looked at this and I thought about this, I mean, I boycott Walmart already for reasons that are nowhere near related to this. It was when they got in the soapbox and did the 5.56 ammo thing, or 2.23 ammo was the last time that I set foot in a Walmart. After I never set foot in a Walmart again after that. There's so many reasons to boycott Walmart. Nobody should be shopping in a Walmart, but this has nothing to do with them.
No, absolutely not. This is going to be every store in Canada, and I guarantee you Walmart employees are not going to be checking people's papers. They're going to say they're going to do it, but I've worked at Walmart. I worked at Walmart for 7 years, and the caliber of employees that are at the Walmart are not going to be diligently checking people's vaccine passports. It's just not going to happen.
You're saying that they're just not going to care and they're going to collect their minimum wage?
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what's going to happen. I had so many employees under me when I worked at Walmart that, you got to set your expectations a little lower when you manage people that work for Walmart.
Yes, I have actually been with the people at Walmart, and I understand that entirely. Let's grab one here from the Dissociated Press. This has been interesting. First off, I want to say how awesome it is that most of our COVID news at this point is in the lightning round because it's updates of shit. We're not actually making big narrative changes in the COVID narrative here. But from the Dissociated Press, the FDA has halted the use of antibody drugs that don't work versus Omicron. Reading here, the antibody drugs from Regeneron and Eli Lilly should no longer be used because they don't work against the Ermagerd variant, and now accounts for nearly all U.S. infections, U.S. health regulators said on Monday. The FDA said it was revoking emergency authorization for both drugs, which were purchased by the federal government and have been administered to millions of Americans. With the Pinko pox, if the drugs prove effective against future variants, the FDA said it could reauthorize their use. So what do you think is going on here?
The drugs don't work and it's harming people who are taking it. So why this is a good thing. I don't understand why it was being used in the first place. I know people in my personal life who had COVID, who their doctor wanted to give them this Regeneron, and they said no, they wouldn't take it. And they're like, well, we're not going to give you anything else. They're like, well, can I get the hydroxychloroquine or can I get the, but the ivermectin? And the doctor's like, no, you can have this or nothing. And they're like, we'll take nothing.
Yeah.
And they're fine now. They're fine. So it worked out.
I did it with nothing. You guys, from the sounds of it, did it with nothing.
Yes, that's
so.
Correct.
I look back at this.
Let me just correct you. I never got it. I'm a superhuman. People in my family have had it.
But I got it. I just pretty much stayed in bed for 10 days, and that was it. That was the end of it.
Yeah.
But the other side of it is, back when it was still a conspiracy theory to trust the monoclonal antibodies because the right-wing people were singing their praises at one point off of this. It was a conspiracy theory to do this. Like, if you went out and said that you had no intention to take the vaccine, the first thing that Mr. Leftoid over on Twitter would ask you is, well, I suppose you would take the monoclonal antibodies. And I'm like, no.
Nope. There's no need to if you're in good health.
Yeah.
You have a good basic health to start with. You're fine.
That's what they're doing there. Speaking of Ermagerd, Pfizer has started a clinical trial for an Ermagerd-specific COVID vaccine. Reading from NBC, Pfizer and BioNTech have announced Tuesday that they've started a clinical trial testing for a modified pinko-pox jab to protect against the super contagious Ermagerd variant of the coronavirus. I'm pretty sure by the time they get this thing out, most of us will have already had Ermagerd.
That was my exact thought when I read that article yesterday, whenever it was. I'm like, why are they starting on this now? It's almost like that variant is going to be done by the time they get anywhere with it. So why are they even doing that? Plus, it's the least deadly strain that they've had of this thing. It's not killing people. What are we doing? We're wasting money.
Taxpayer money, too.
Yeah, they're getting government subsidized to do this testing, to get this vaccine for a thing that doesn't exist or is not going to exist by the time they get done with it. Also, doesn't kill anybody. So what are we doing?
I'm not sure. Speaking of the pinko pox and the mandates, this was interesting to me because Fairfax Schools are suspending kids and calling the police as the system defies the Virginia governor on masks. So the school district is defying the governor and saying, no, we will put a mask mandate in place, whether you like it or not, and we'll make the kids mask. And now the kids are defying the school district, like kids do.
The more kids that do this, the better. They can't suspend everybody.
I'll just read here from the Daily Wire quickly. Fairfax County Public Schools made a show of defying Governor Glenn Youngkin's order that schools respect a parental right on masking on Tuesday, with an assistant principal standing in front of the school to suspend students without a mask, and public relations staffer who said the media was not allowed. And that was the best part, is the PR guy out front to make sure the media wasn't allowed to go back in there and check it out.
Yep.
I believe they were supposed to stay, 1,000 yards or so back? Which is
I don't know
almost
exactly
a mile.
how far it was, but yeah.
And there's the pinnacle of health there, FCPS Security. I can't even tell if that's a dude or a chick.
I was going to guess chick, but now that you mention it.
Actually, I'm looking closer now. I can see a beard sticking out under the mask. Which, I mean, in today's world doesn't mean a goddamn thing anyway.
I'm not going to venture a guess on that. I don't want to offend anybody.
But
this is what they them pronouns are for. This situation right here.
I can't say anything because you guys usually don't see it because I keep it tied back because of my headphone. But I've got the ponytail sitting out there in the back too. So, and a beard that would, if I wore a mask, be sticking out from under the mask. But still, come on. But it's just the defiance of the defiance.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But I don't understand did the police even show up and do anything? Like, what are they going to do? It's not against the law.
I was going to say, it looks like it was private security that was doing it and just handing out the suspensions. So I'm not sure.
Those families will have a lawsuit.
Here's an interesting one from The Blaze. Conservative lawmakers urge Senate GOP to shut down the government to defund Biden's vaccine mandates. So we are approaching the expiration of the omnibus coming up here. I believe this is coming up this coming month in February here. The next omnibus expires and they need to come back up with a spending bill again. And Republicans are outright saying now that, yes, it's time to go shut the government down for the mandates, which, you know me, anytime the government's shut down, I'm a happy fucking guy.
I know you are, but some shit has to run. Like, we have military people that like to eat, and feed their families. So,
right.
This happens every so often where the government shuts down for a few days and then they get their shit together. It's going to be the same thing this time, in my opinion. They say they're going to shut it down, and then there's no way that it's going to last for more than a day or two.
Yeah. But just, the brazen side of it of, hey, let's just shut it. Which, to me, no matter who's shutting it down, because Barack was, he did it twice, didn't he? Shut it down twice?
At least. I think more, but at least twice.
But the media was always able to spin it out to be John Boehner.
All I remember is one time trash wasn't being picked up in DC for several days, and there was an issue. That's the only one I remember.
Well, I mean, that involves going and cleaning out the House chamber. But we won't talk about that.
Yeah.
But I mean, the brazenness, like they're going to spin the narrative to make this a Republican's fault anyway, in spite of the fact that Democrats control all three, both chambers, and the presidency. This is still going to be Republicans' fault somewhere, and now they're just going to come out and own it. Like,
Absolutely.
hey, yeah, we're going to shut it the fuck down.
Shut it down.
There's a creature on your guest bed that wasn't there the last time I was there.
That is, that's not our cat. Her name is not our cat. She's our cat, but her name is not our cat.
Nice.
Hopefully there's not a fight behind me. If it happens, it happens.
Well, we'll see what happens with that. But, I mean, yeah, that's what we have coming up here. Did you see this stuff with Patriot Front this week?
Yeah, the feds are at it again.
Well, the thing with that is the March for Life happened again, as it always does, which I'm happy for that because, like we talked about with Nome, fewer dead babies, obviously. But the March for Life happened at this point. But now, of course, Patriot Front was walking through there, and some of the Trump people were out there thanking them for that. Now, of course, Patriot Front they were all there in their masks and everything. But let's. They say volume up for the clip because they want to see how the evil Trump people were congratulating Patriot Front. Let's listen.
Flyer? Appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming out. You recognize it? Hell yeah, brother. No flag. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Have a good one. Thanks for coming out. Would you like a flyer, sir? Oh, I got a couple.
Okay. Because I didn't catch this. I didn't blow it up, obviously, on Contemporary because, that usually gets copyright strikes, but... in this program, the way I have this program set up, we can do a full screen off of this, and it's still modified enough to do this. But I didn't catch this before when we were doing this. But, I mean, this is a guy. I don't know how you don't look at this person and say, yep, he's a Fed. Mask, full face shielded mask, sunglasses on, and a Confederate flag around his arm.
He's absolutely a Fed, even just the way he's speaking to these people. He sounds like a Fed. Like the first time I saw Patriot Front, I was making fun of them and making memes and the whole thing, these are feds or whatever. But, I was thinking maybe they're just infiltrated by feds. I really think this whole organization now is all feds. I don't think it's another organization that was infiltrated by feds or something like that. They're just all feds. That thing in Chicago a couple of weeks ago where they had their license plates covered up and being escorted by the Chicago police, that doesn't happen if they're not feds. Like, that's a dead giveaway. They're all feds, every one of them.
But, I mean, this is an op-ed, too, from NBC. But, of course, NBC is coming out and saying, hey, we see Patriot Front here, so this means that the March for Life is run by Nazis. Right?
It's all an op. Everything's an op. This especially is an op.
Well, that's what we see from that. A little bit of financial news for us this week, which went away pretty quickly, which tells me that there was probably something about this that they're trying to cover up right now. But apparently the GDP grew at 6.9% pace to close out 2021, stronger than expected despite Omicron's spread. So it looks like they were looking for a 5.5% growth in quarter four of 2021. They got a 6.9% annualized pace, but like I said, the weird part of the story is, I mean, this is supposed to be everybody coming back out and taking a victory lap, and this disappeared really quick. Really, really quick.
It's because the numbers aren't true. Like they tried to pull a fast one. That's not how numbers work. Like people caught on. People aren't dumb.
Well, and one of the things too that I noticed on with the chart that we have up here too, first and foremost, we're not back to where we were on the economy and the GDP before it shrank by 35% in quarter two of 2020.
Yeah, if we get back to 2019 numbers, I'd be impressed. But it's not anywhere near that.
Yeah, because I mean, in quarter two of 2020, we lost 35% of it, and even because there was almost according to the chart, a 36% growth for quarter three of 2020. even with that, and then the 6.9% that we allegedly got from quarter four off of this, which I didn't look enough into the numbers to know about that and see where that went. But the what we got for quarter four, we're still not up to where the GDP was before the shrinkage.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and people on the internet are not stupid. So they put this on, I think I saw it on the White House's Twitter page. I didn't see this particular graph, but immediately people were in the comments saying, this is not good, guys. I don't know why you're propping this up as a good thing. This is not great. Like, just
and
stop,
the economy?
Stop, White House. Stop it.
And I mean, for the real people, I mean, they can sit there and talk about the GDP all they want, but for like people like you and me,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when's the last time you went to your office?
Before Christmas, 2 days before Christmas.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, you're working from home otherwise for the most part off of this.
Every day, yep.
I don't know. I see a lot of stuff going with this, but we're not where we were yet, especially down here on the ground. So.
Yeah.
Good try. Nice going. Here's one. Now, and you being in a military family, you probably know a little bit more about this than I do, but I can't believe that this wasn't a thing already. President Biden tweeted out on January 26th, this afternoon, I'm signing an executive order to make sexual harassment an offense. I don't know why I'm reading that in Biden's voice. There's no way he wrote this. In the Uniform Code of Military Justice, and to strengthen the military's response to domestic violence and wrongful broadcast or distribution of intimate visual images, which means, well, you can't send around that titty pic that the barracks bunny sent you.
This was all sorted out in the Operation Tailhook scandal 20 years ago. I don't know why he's bringing this up now. He's not doing anything special here. I don't know if you recall the Tailhook scandal with they had. I think it was the Navy, maybe the Air Force. One of them had a big conference where women were sexually harassed. I believe it was in Vegas. I'm doing this all from memory. I could be completely wrong about all these facts. Anyway, bunch of female soldiers, air women, whatever you call them, got harassed, and there was a big scandal and a big congressional hearing, and it was a whole thing, and it. 80s or 90s, probably the 90s because I remember it, late 90s maybe. But we've already sorted all this out. What is he bringing this up now for? This is all stuff that's already. I don't know if it's illegal. First of all, some of the stuff he's talking about is already illegal.
That's what I thought. So,
passing around nudie pics is not illegal, but it's been frowned upon in the military for a really long time.
Yeah, that's. I could have sworn that. I mean, the entire private sector has sexual harassment as at least a civil suit, if not an actual criminal suit. Check your state and locality laws to know for sure off of this. Like, the entire private sector has this as a problem already. Why is this just now in 2022 becoming a thing that the White House has to address? I can't wrap my head around the fact that they hadn't addressed this already.
It's not a thing. He's trying to get brownie points with the Me Too movement, which was also not a thing right now. Like, that's already over too. Like, we've already done that. Like,
yep.
He's just a day late and a dollar short, which is your usual for President Biden.
No details on this yet. Speaking of the White House is also reportedly preparing an executive order on cryptocurrency. As I said, we have no idea what this is going to be, but it looks like they are trying to decide how they're going to regulate this and possibly regulate out some of these smaller, as they say out there, shit coins to make sure that nobody is going out and buying those, which is going to make me sad because I'm going to lose out on all my Shiba.
Yeah, I feel like I need to sell some stuff real quick, even though it'll be at a loss.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. I won't be out that much if I lose it all, so.
Well, one of the things that goes along with this too, and honestly, if they do come out with a regulation, I feel like Bitcoin and Ethereum are probably going to pop. But all the rest of them are going to drop off of this because those are going to be the ones where Soccer Mom, and I always cite Soccer Mom America with this, but those are going to be the ones where Soccer Mom America comes out, looks at this and says, oh, well, we can put this into our retirement now and it's safe and the government regulates it now.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're going to see some of that as we go. But yeah, like your Shibas are probably going to, if I can venture a guess on what they're going to do, if they actually can do an executive order and if the Supreme Court doesn't strike them down for it, and possibly a 9-0 or 8-1 decision, by the way.
Yeah.
They're probably going to go down there and they're going to say, okay, well, you can't own any more of this coin, that coin. It's all going to be these little ones that keep popping up. And hey, Bitcoin is the only acceptable cryptocurrency for us here.
Yeah, but that means they're going to tax the shit out of it too, or any earnings, any gain, you know.
Oh, I'm sure they're planning on doing that already.
I think you're supposed to report that sort of stuff already. I don't know. I haven't done my taxes yet this year, and I just bought it last year, so.
I don't know. Coinbase, I know, reports earnings directly because they make you put your social security number and everything in. Mm-hmm. So they'll report your earnings. Luckily, I'm still sitting at a moderate gain. Not a great gain, but a moderate gain.
I think at the moment, I haven't checked it today. As of yesterday, I was at a slight loss.
Well, you should be fine on your taxes then. Here's an interesting one here. And Arrest Trump Now was trending on Twitter this morning because of this here. Trump has said that he may pardon those charged on the January 6th Selfie Fest if he wins in 2024. Now, what they're talking about with this, of course, is that he's come out and, you know, most of these people from the January 6th Selfie Fest are facing misdemeanors, but he's also pointing out that some of these people are being treated very unfairly, of course, and we're going to treat them more fairly, and if it requires pardons, we'll give them pardons. So it does look like there's going to be a judicial review on some of these people, and he's not just going to blanket pardon everything, but that didn't stop the Guardian from getting in and putting their twist onto this, and they actually went to the Nixon legal counsel, the White House counsel from the Nixon administration, and he told us that this is the kind of thing that dictators do.
Like the Nixon guy who is not a lawyer anymore, that guy?
Yeah, that guy.
Got disbarred?
Yeah.
Debarred?
Yep.
Yeah. Overall, I think this is a good thing, but some people did some things. Some people did some bad things that day.
Yes.
And I would like to find out who those people are, because I don't think they're who they say they are. The ones that were, you know, actually breaking windows and stuff like that. And they should be held accountable for property damage or something like that. But for the most part, most of the people, especially the ones that are actually in jail without a sentence or without a trial or anything yet, they are coming down a lot too hard on a lot of these people.
Yeah, and I mean, some of them are going to get out with time served on top of whatever else off. I mean, even if they just get a fine, the judge is going to look at this and say, oh, well, you've been in jail for a year. Your fine is paid. Get the fuck out of here.
Well, some of the people who are in jail, the crimes that they've committed wouldn't have even been a sentence of a year. And like they're serving more time than already pre-trial than they would have gotten if they went to trial. You know, we have a right to a speedy trial. What are we doing here?
It's the COVID.
All I can do is sigh.
Tom Wolfe got into the news because, and I mean, I'm wrapping 3 articles that I did on Contemporary into this one here. When Mr. Biden decided he was going to go back and tout the infrastructure bill in Pennsylvania, just a couple hours before he showed up to go give his speech, the Forbes Avenue Bridge going into Pittsburgh collapsed.
Very conveniently.
Very conveniently, yes.
Very, very convenient.
But Tom Wolfe got into this right away. One of the first things that he did was he went to condemn the Republicans who voted against the infrastructure bill in Congress and congratulate the ones like the district house member in Pittsburgh who voted for this. Congratulate all those people, except for the fact that, and the document is actually earmarked in this Blaze article. I put it up on Twitter and I put it up in the Discord as well. This bridge that collapsed was not slated to get any funding from the infrastructure project.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yes. Yeah, no,
I thought it was just very convenient that that bridge happened to collapse the day that Biden was going there to talk about the infrastructure and bridges and stuff. Like, something happened to that bridge. I'm not the biggest conspiracy theorist, but something happened to that bridge. And the fact that they're immediately turning around and blaming Republicans like that, they did something to that bridge.
Not only that, and the interesting part is that it happened 2 hours before rush hour as well.
Mm-hmm.
Where people would actually be crossing that all the time. Like hundreds of cars on that bridge at once.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think nobody got hurt in that bridge collapse either, did they?
No, there were 10 people that got hurt. Nobody got killed, but 10 people did get hurt.
Got killed. Yeah. So something happened to that bridge.
Yeah. And then, yeah, like I say, the Pennsylvania government data, and the document is there. I can actually pull it up here right there. The apportionment for fiscal year 2022, that particular bridge was not slated to get any infrastructure bill funding at all.
Have they done an investigation to see what happened to the bridge at all?
Not yet, as far as I know, not yet. I know that it hit a gas line. There was a gas leak off there, and 10 people got hurt. But that's it.
Very conveniently.
Let's talk about Loudoun County. After review, the rapist from Loudoun County has been removed from the sex offender registry after the county board member says that he is the victim in this situation. I don't even need to read from this article. I'm sure you've got a lot to say on this.
I have a mixed reaction to this. First of all, the kid is 15.
Yep.
We make mistakes when we're 15. Most of people are not raping people and sodomizing people type of mistakes when they're 15. But being on the sex offender list for your entire life for something stupid you did when you're 15 does seem like it might be a little harsh to me. Mm-hmm. But not being on it at all is not enough. Like, they went complete opposite direction. Like, what are you doing? Put him on there till he's 21 or something at least. Or for 20 years or something like that. Let him prove himself to be an upstanding member of the community, and then take him off. Make him prove himself into adulthood in some way, and then take him off the list. But not putting him on the list at all is crazy to me. He could move in next to your niece or your child, or and you would have no idea. You would have no idea that there's a rapist living next door to you.
Well, especially as a minor, too, because most of your outlets, like the Daily Wire that I pulled this from, the Daily Wire won't even give his name out. So, I mean, a lot of the listeners of that network have no idea who this kid is, which, okay, as a minor, I can understand that, but still.
Yeah, there's no, I don't know, I don't think I've seen a picture of him online. I don't know what his name is. All I know is he's a 15-year-old who forcefully sodomized a girl in a restroom. Something needs to happen with this kid. Yeah.
Well, we'll see where that goes, but that was an interesting one off of this. More from the Daily Wire. The ADL, founded to combat anti-Semitism, has gone woke and changed the definition of racism. And our friends who wear the small hats are up in arms about this, including the one that owns the website that I'm reading from. According to the Blaze, the definition of racism has been changed to read the marginalization and or oppression of people of color based on a socially construct racial hierarchy that privileges white people. The former definition, of course, being racism is the belief that a particular race is superior or inferior to another, that a person's social and moral traits are predetermined by his or her inborn biological characteristics. Racial separatism is the belief, most of the time based on racism, that different races should remain segregated and apart from one another. So, and that's a fairly significant change between the two definitions, too.
That's a huge change. And depending on how you read it, it means that you can't be racist against Jewish people anymore. It depends on how you categorize Jewish people. And this is the ADL. Like, they were started to, like, wasn't their whole thing when they were starting is to combat
anti-Semitism,
yeah. Like, all of my Jewish friends are white. So I know that there's different types of I'm not exactly sure what a Jewish person is, like, let's be honest, but just walking down the street, it looks like a white person, so you can't be racist to them anymore. That's crazy to me. And they had to do this because of the Supreme Court thing that's happening.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
They had to.
Well, that's your new definition. It's because of what's done to go and improve the lives of white people.
I don't know who put them in charge of what racism is.
I think they did.
They put themselves in charge of what racism is.
All right, and the last one here, and then we got to get into the big news of the day here. Coming to us from the New York Post, Disney is now rethinking Snow White after Peter Dinklage calls out the use of dwarves.
Give me a break. Can we take a survey of all dwarves and little people and see if they agree? Because I think this guy's just crazy.
Well, I mean, this is the Game of Thrones guy, so apparently he's got some pull somewhere.
It's just because he's famous. There's other famous dwarves. What's the guy from Jackass? Get that guy's opinion.
We could ask Joe C., but he died.
Yeah.
Or Vern Troyer. Whatever the fuck happened to Vern Troyer, by the way? I haven't seen him since the end of Austin Powers.
Idea. There's other famous dwarves. I think we need to ask if it has to be a famous dwarf. There's other ones we can talk to. Like, who is this guy?
He was in Game of Thrones and he was in X-Men.
I know who he is, but why does he get to decide on behalf of all dwarves everywhere?
I don't know.
What gave him this great power? He was in a movie? Whatever.
I don't know. It seems like he's most pissed off that they're making Snow White to be a Hispanic woman, which I'm sure that there were plenty of those in 1642 Germany.
Lots. They were overrun.
And then, of course, now they're not getting the progressivism off the dwarfism.
So what are they gonna just not remake this movie?
No, they've committed to this. They're going to remake this movie. It's just the seven dwarves are not going to be dwarves, apparently. Because we're too progressive for that.
Could we just call them little people? Snow White and the Seven Little People. I think that's is that what we're calling them these days? I think that's last I checked. That was the correct way to say that.
Oh, I mean, that's what I got out of, what was it? The Santa Claus. You remember that? When he goes in and talks about the elves in school after everything, and the teacher's like, we call them little people. That is one of the few movies I've seen.
I don't think I've ever seen that movie, so I'm learning something.
Oh, the Tim Allen movie? No. That's not bad. Yeah. They put Tim Allen in a fat suit and then give him a big white beard and make him into Santa Claus.
The only good Christmas movie is Die Hard. That's the only Christmas movie I watch.
I don't know. I've never seen that movie.
You've never seen Die Hard?
I've never seen Die Hard.
You've seen the Santa Claus, but you haven't seen Die Hard? Like the original Die Hard from like 1986.
Guilty.
All right. Well, I guess I know we're having movie night next time you come visit.
Well, let's do some live chat here and let's jump in and talk about let's do some live chat and let's talk about Neil Young.
All right. Let me get this up. All right. Not a lot of chatting tonight. Ron Helton is here. He actually just hopped in to say hi. Running some errands.
Ron Helton will run the message count up in a hurry.
Yes. 80s kid said in the UK, mandatory jabs have just been scrapped for all healthcare workers. That's great news. Mm-hmm. Arvold said he's lurking, but then he chatted a lot, so I think he lied. Arvold said, who is Ray Epps? MK Ultra said Katie Fed. Katie Fed Hunter. Memes by day, spotting feds online by night. All day. Arvold said, I don't know what this means. PMITA prison.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get that either.
It was when we were talking about that kid being taken off the sex offender list. So, Hervold says, asks, let me just read this real quick.
I think you made a correction in there. I'm looking at it too.
6 dwarves. I'm not sure if that's I don't know.
Ask the 6 dwarves who just lost their jobs if you think this is fair.
Oh. Got it.
Because I'm sure that he was going to be on that list of dwarves. Because, I mean, like we were talking about, there's not a big pool of them to pick from.
Exactly. Life to the Max thinks that Vern died.
Oh, that would
she may be correct. I'm not sure. I have not kept up with the dwarves, the famous dwarves. Grant said Peter Dinklage is just auditioning for Grumpy. You probably get that part. Yeah, he's definitely not happy, says Ervold. Grant says, I still don't know who Neil Young is. Insert Theranos meme. I don't even know who you are. And that's all for the chat.
I haven't seen. Yeah, I mean, what do we have for a pool for little people that could be the 7 dwarves here? Assuming that maybe Vern is still alive. You know, there's Peter Dinklage, Vern Troyer, Josie, Jessica Green.
True.
I had to do that. I had to.
She'd get the job.
All right, let's get into this here. So, one of the biggest stories that was covered by the mainstream media, and we'll talk about what they were trying to cover up here, probably in the next segment, that Neil Young demanded. He put an ultimatum out to Spotify, and well, he kind of got his ass handed to him. So, Rolling Stone was one of the first ones to report this, and then pretty much everybody else jumped on board with this as well, to tell us about the fact that Neil Young, well, first he wrote a letter. He sent it out to his management, and then he deleted the letter afterwards, saying that Spotify could have Rogan or Neil Young, but they couldn't have both because of Rogan's vaccine misinformation. The letter has been deleted, but once again, it wasn't deleted before it got leaked back out, and the rest of the world saw it. And the rest of the world knew how he felt. It looked like he did intend to back off of this for a second, but a few days later, Spotify granted him his wish, and they pulled all of the Neil Young songs off of Spotify.
Good for them. It was just such a dumb move. Did he not see how much money they spent on Rogan and the stuff that, like, if you listen to Rogan when he was making that transfer over, he spoke a lot about what was in that contract and how they're not allowed to censor him, and it's in the contract and things like that. So that was common knowledge. You could have found that information online. There's, I want to say it was $100 million contract, something like that. Uh-huh. That Spotify signed with Rogan. They're not going to get out of that for Neil Young. Who does he think he is?
He wrote The Needle and the Damage Done. Don't you know how important that song was to heroin?
Nobody who listens to Neil Young even knows what Spotify is.
Well, that's not true. I will admit that at the top of this, I enjoy Neil Young music.
Have you ever listened to it on Spotify? Did you ever type into Spotify, I want to listen to some Neil Young music right now?
I have done CSNY, but not Neil Young specifically.
I'm just going to guess that if you typed in Neil Young, whatever song, I don't know any of his songs, but whatever song you wanted to hear into Spotify and it didn't come up, you'd just go find it somewhere else if you really wanted to hear it.
Well, yeah, YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, actually, because we had the discussion on Topic Chat over on the Discord, and Grant and Seawall, I don't know if Seawall was serious or not, but I know Grant is saying that he didn't know who Neil Young was, and I picked 3 songs and I gave him YouTube links for the 3 songs. What did I do? I did what the fuck did I do? I know I did Needle and the Damage Done. I know that I did Harassment because I love that song. That is a fantastic Neil Young
It's
song.
a very good song. You're absolutely right. But I wouldn't cry if it's not on Spotify.
Yeah, well, yeah. Exactly.
So I'm saying he should have known that. That you're absolutely right. That's one song. The Harvest Moon song is a very good song. It's in a lot of movie soundtracks.
Oddly enough, I didn't know that was I had not heard that song originally from Neil Young either, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
I believe it was either Josh Turner or Raina Del Cid. They're both YouTube musicians.
Yeah.
They were working together in a collaboration. I just don't remember whose channel it was on, but one of them put out a cover of that song, and Josh and Raina were both working together on it. So I think it was on Josh's channel.
It's probably better than Neil Young's version.
Actually, it is. I'm not gonna lie. But that's the only reason I know of that song.
Yeah.
I like it. Like I said, it's a good song. But it's... Again, we don't know why Neil Young thought that he had this kind of pull. And some of the discussion that came out about this was... it was interesting to sit back and watch because... we hear about now Neil Young and, how anti-censorship he was in the 60s. And we hear some things about him now where he talks about, it's just because he didn't have power in the 60s and now he thinks that he has power, or now that he wants more power off of this.
He had more power when he was famous than he does today. And he's delusional if he thinks that he still is as famous as he was when he was putting out hit records.
Well, and even when he was putting out hit records, you live in the South now. You probably know this here, but one of the big questions to sit back and ask is, for most of us who like regular mainstream classic rock music, what's one of the first references that we got directly to Neil Young?
What do you mean?
Now, outside of Neil Young's music, for most of us, the first time we heard Neil Young's name was when Ronnie Van Zant sang it.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Sweet Home Alabama, second verse.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's country music, right? I don't do country music.
Skinner is not country music.
It's kind of country music. It's pretty country. It's country rock.
Well, apparently my mom's watching, by the way, because she just texted me and she says that Heart of Gold was his only song to go to number one out of all of his music.
Hi, Ed's mom. I think I said hi to your mom once before on stream, or maybe it was in a chat. I actually have seen Leonard Skinner live, but not by choice. It just happened.
But he Heart of Gold. Actually, I wouldn't have thought about that one. Because the other one that I posted in Discord was My Hey Hey, which I also enjoy that song. But
I don't think I know that one.
At this point, Spotify has sided with this, which I think that's a win. And of course, all the leftoids like Aaron Rupar gathered his people up to go back and say, okay, well, let's all go cancel our Spotify memberships. Let's go cancel this, cancel that, and
they did put lame labels on his stuff now, Joe Rogan stuff. Spotify did cave a little bit, and they decided to put some lame labels on his misinformation, just like Instagram does to me all the time. It drives me nuts.
Apparently, it was my dad on Mom's phone.
Hi.
Because they're watching me on Dad's phone. But anyway, I forget where I was going with that. I'm distracted by my parents right now. One of the things that really got me off of this, and I tweeted this back out on that day, was congratulations to Spotify for doing something for spoiled millennials who are most of them are the products of divorce. And I make the social commentary all the time, but it was less common for late stage boomers and early stage Gen Xers to stay together in their marriage. My parents were some of the very, very few in our community growing up that did stay together through that. And I saw some of it where a lot of my classmates were, and even in a small town where a lot of my classmates were being shunted back and forth between their mom and dad, and they made the threat of, okay, well, if you won't give me what I want, then I'll go have Dad do it, or I'll go have Mom do it
Yeah, I
when I
never
go
had
over to
that
their house.
opportunity. My parents stayed or were married the whole time I was growing up, so I never got to play that leverage to get stuff I wanted.
But I mean, looking around you too, I mean, it was rampant around
Mhm.
us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It was absolutely rampant around us here, and I mean, with Spotify too, because I mean, these kids were looking at this saying, okay, well, we're going to go cancel Spotify, and unless you do what we say, and Spotify told them no,
Hmm.
like, no, fuck yourself.
Yeah. And I think they had like, I'm not sure that would have happened if they didn't have $100 million contract with Joe Rogan. I really don't
Mhm.
know if that would have happened. I really think that Joe Rogan has the leverage in this deal to where they can't, their hands are tied. But I still give them credit for doing the right thing. They could have broken their contract and been out the money. He still had to pay Joe,
Yeah,
and he would have went on somewhere else and been making more money. He could have built his own thing. He doesn't even need to be on anyone's platform. Honestly, he could just make his own platform.
I want to bring something up with that though, because you brought that up, and that was actually brought up on Twitter. I don't know if you follow the account Kurt Libertarian, where he's
I
basically a guy with a big mustache and a Han Solo picture. He's sometimes insufferable, but sometimes he makes good points. And he brought up the fact that, I mean, like you said, Rogan can go to another platform. He can go to Rumble. He can go to BitChute or make his own thing, like you said. But with
yeah,
him not being on Spotify, one of the hard things for that is the fact that, did you know that you can't share a BitChute link on Twitter?
I did not know that.
Yeah, they'll mark it as spam and they'll delete it. You can't share it in DM
Really?
either.
Huh. No, I did not know that. That's interesting. I could think of a couple of conspiracy theories off of that. My brain is
Yeah,
just spinning now.
I was in a group chat that Britt used to be in, and I was actually going to share a Styx video, and it was one of his BitChute exclusives.
Yeah.
And I went to go share it in the group chat. No, it was a YouTube video, because I wound up going back and sharing the link for the YouTube video. But
Mhm.
because I almost exclusively listen to Styx on BitChute, I just grabbed the BitChute link and I tried to post it in the group chat. I tried to tweet it out, and both times, yeah, they grabbed it as spam.
Interesting.
Which there again, if like Spotify were to dump Rogan and he went out to Rumble, who's to say, okay, well, Rumble, oh, you can't share a Rumble link on Twitter anymore. It's spam.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. They can do whatever
Ah,
they want. He could make his own platform and they could say Joe Rogan links are spam.
yeah,
They just
exactly.
do
Well,
whatever the
that's where
heck
I
they
was going with
want.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the internal domain from the Joe Rogan Experience website, if there was such a website, absolutely, they would call that one a spam link.
Everyone needs to go over to Gab and get their preferred username. Just have it just in case because Twitter's, I mean, I can't see it being another couple of years before everyone's over somewhere else, whether it's Gab or Mines. Probably not Mines. I think they're pretty much dead now. I haven't been over there anyway, but it seems like Gab's going to be the one.
Well, I think Spotify might cave because, you know, that super famous '60s musician Joni Mitchell got on board with this.
Never
She's
heard of
pulling
her.
all she's pulling all of her music from Spotify.
That's great. See you later.
Who's the other
I
one?
think people that listen
Nils.
to her, people that listen to her probably have a record player in their living room and her actual records still from the 60s where they can just listen to it anytime they want.
I had to look up who she was, and I'm into '60s music. I had to look up
I've
who
never
she
heard
was.
of her.
The song that she is most famous for was covered by the Counting Crows. That's the only reason I know who she is.
That's a
Big
Counting
Yellow
Crow
Taxi.
song.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a Counting Crow song now. It doesn't belong to her anymore.
That is the only reason I know who she is. But Barry Manilow, the rumor came out that Barry Manilow had come forward and said that he was going to pull his music off of there. But Saturday morning, he put this tweet out. And he says, I recently heard a rumor about me and Spotify. I don't know where it started, but it didn't start with me or anybody who represents me. Which, it's terrible to think that I might have had to go to get my peer-to-peer copy of Copacabana if I ever really wanted to listen to that song again. But
I love
I mean,
Barry Manilow. I know it's nerdy, but I love Barry Manilow.
I don't care about this rumor.
He makes good music. And I like him even more now that he's saying, no, I'm not going to pull my music. That's stupid. Like, I like him even more now.
Well, and this rumor is not the one that gets me. The rumor, of course, and we talked about this off mic, I need to know if Principal Vernon actually raided Barry Manilow's closet in the 80s. That's the rumor I need the answer to.
You should tweet Barry Manilow and ask him. He'll probably answer you.
I did. I never got a response. I responded to this one with that tweet. I never got a response, which was lame. Those are the important questions.
Yes.
I still remember. That's one of the few movies I've seen.
Yeah. You're talking about a lot of movies you've seen today for somebody who hasn't seen any movies.
For someone who hasn't seen any movies. So a couple of different things that came in. Now, this was the one that really got a lot of people's blood boiling here. The Surgeon General, I had to think about which general this was for a second. The Surgeon General, Vivek Murthy, on Tuesday came out and he went on to NBC and told us that government, not only the government, big tech companies have a role to play when it comes to censoring so-called misinformation and curating accurate information to the public. And now this is a government figure saying that, okay, the First Amendment is null and void. And
so wrong. I watched that interview. It's so wrong.
I didn't watch the interview.
This shouldn't have anything to do with him at all.
Well, and that's just it. This is the kind of thing where somebody should start to get arrested and hauled out, because this is directly contraventional to the First Amendment.
Absolutely.
Which even your bureaucrats have to swear an oath to uphold the Constitution.
Absolutely.
But of course, nothing's going to come back out of it.
No, he's fine. Even if the administration was different, even if it was last year's administration, nothing would come of it. You know, they don't prosecute stuff like this. They just don't.
Now Spotify has come out and, like you had said, they have given their situation where they're telling us that they are going to slap a warning label out there where if they find some misinformation, they can bring you out to a website. But I mean, that's not what you're going to Rogan for. And everybody knows.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to Rogan, everybody knows that there's going to be a conversation out there, and you're probably going to have to go back and do a little bit of your own research.
Absolutely.
I mean, you shouldn't be taking anything that Rogan or any of his guests say is gospel to begin with.
Absolutely.
It does make a good jumping off point. Don't get me wrong.
That's Rogan's brand, is to have conversations with people, no matter who they are.
But he put out a statement as well addressing this of itself, and I've actually got the clip in full, so let's listen to what Joe himself had to say about this. And they caught him in a park, so I apologize for the wind noise that goes along with this, but they caught him in a park. Let's listen to what he had to say.
I think there's a lot of people that have a distorted perception of what I do, maybe based on sound bites or based on headlines of articles that are disparaging. The podcast has been accused of spreading dangerous misinformation, specifically about 2 episodes, a little bit about some other ones, but specifically about 2. One with Dr. Peter McCullough and one with Dr. Robert Malone. Dr. Peter McCullough is a cardiologist, and he is the most published physician in his field in history. Dr. Robert Malone owns 9 patents on the creation of mRNA vaccine technology and is at least partially responsible for the creation of the technology that led to mRNA vaccines. Both these people are very highly credentialed, very intelligent, very accomplished people, and they have an opinion that's different from the mainstream narrative. I wanted to hear what their opinion is. I had them on, and because of that, those episodes in particular, those episodes were labeled as being dangerous. They had dangerous misinformation in them. The problem I have with the term misinformation, especially today, is that many of the things that we thought of as misinformation just a short while ago are now accepted as fact. Like, for instance, 8 months ago, if you said, if you get vaccinated, you can still catch COVID and you can still spread COVID, you would be removed from social media. They would ban you from certain platforms. Now, that's accepted as fact. If you said, I don't think cloth masks work. You would be banned from social media. Now, that's openly and repeatedly stated on CNN. If you said, I think it's possible that COVID-19 came from a lab, you'd be banned from many social media platforms. Now, that's on the cover of Newsweek. All of those theories that at one point in time were banned were openly discussed by those two men that I had on my podcast that have been accused of dangerous misinformation. I do not know if they're right. I don't know, because I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist. I'm just a person who sits down and talks to people and has conversations with them. Do I get things wrong? Absolutely, I get things wrong, but I try to correct them. Whenever I get something wrong, I try to correct it because I'm interested in telling the truth.
And that's where they cut the clip off of that. So, I don't know. What's your take on this?
He's absolutely right. He's 100% in the right. And I'm kind of glad that he's just keeping it specifically, or his comments, which he may have gone on to say other things and they cut it, but he's specifically keeping his comments to, I'm just having conversations. I don't know who's right or wrong. That's up to you, for you to decide. He didn't bring into play, or he didn't speak about the contracts and what Spotify legally is required by contract to do for him or anything like that. He didn't bring any of that up. He just said his piece about his show and left it at that. That's a perfect statement.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm not the hugest Rogan listener either. Like, if he's got an interesting guest on, I'll listen. I have listened to both the episodes in question in their entirety. I think I listened to the McCullough interview when I was on my way home from your house. I know I did. I listened to the entire thing there, and I got started on the Robert Malone episode after that. So, and I'm probably going to listen to Peterson because I know it's unpopular among our mutual friends, but I do still like Jordan.
Really?
Yeah.
So
I enjoy Jordan's work. Maybe it's just because I like memeing the voice.
Yes, he's got some good ideas, but his voice is just so muppety. I can't stand to listen to him for that long. I'd rather read one of his books.
Well, I do have 12 Rules for Life sitting on my nightstand. I've never read it yet. And I bought it when it was brand new, and I still haven't read it.
I don't think I know you as a person. You probably don't. You don't need that book. You're good. You've already cleaned your room. You're good.
You've got to come out here and clean your goddamn room, and then your life will improve as you go along.
Yeah.
And you'll get into the belly of the whale and save your father. Is that somewhat accurate?
Absolutely.
Canadian
Muppet.
That's what we're seeing out of the Spotify thing, and it's just like I say, my big thing is I'm very, very happy about, and I mean this is a big one right here. A tweet that I had included on the show notes. I didn't know if I was going to be able to put it on or not, but we've got to look at this one here. Confirmed. I don't know how you pronounce that word, Misker, M-I-S-C-E-R, tweets out, and I mean, this kind of says where it is for this. What scares the progs about the Spotify stuff is the potential that some companies might come to the conclusion that caving to these activist campaigns isn't actually better for business. Progressivism relies on bending corporations to its will. Without that, it's nothing.
Absolutely.
Goes on to tweet out, it's certainly possible internal worker revolts are eventually enough at most companies, or in Spotify's case, that artists begin to unite against them, but if neither one happens, that terrifies the left. Which, and I mean, we're starting to see, like, the Foo Fighters are trying to get on board with the Spotify thing. They're trying to get a few others. They're trying to get Taylor Swift to do it, which I don't think she's going to. I really don't.
No, she's too she's too
making
middle of the road.
Goddamn much money off of that. I don't care about her politics. She's making way too goddamn much money off of being on Spotify.
She seems like the type of person, too, that does not want to upset the apple cart. She knows that this fame thing is fleeting sometimes, and she's still young enough that she wants to be Dolly Parton. She does not want to be somebody who was famous in the 2020s. You know, She doesn't want to end up like Neil Young. She wants to be Dolly Parton.
One of the other things that really, and I went over this a little bit this morning on Contemporary too, was honestly, and I've looked back at situations, because I've worked in a few places throughout my life, And some of them, especially like, grocery store stuff that I've worked part-time when I was going through college, when I look at situations like this, and if you have a major employee dispute where somebody okay, let's say you're working at a grocery store. Let's say you're working at the Walmart. There you go. We'll go with that one. Say you're working at the Walmart and you have two employees, both are cashiers. One cashier comes up and says, I don't like the way that cashier number 2, let's call cashier number 2 Kathleen, cashier number 1 Amanda. Let's use those names. So Amanda goes up to management and says, I don't like the way that Kathleen is doing shit. I don't like her as a person, and I'm willing to walk out the door because of that. You can either have me or you can have Kathleen. Now, without even delving into either their work ethics or seeing if Kathleen has a contract for this, under most situations, management will look at this and say, bye.
Absolutely.
Pack your shit, get the fuck out of here. Because the person who is coming forward with the dispute like that, and of course, once again, I mean, we could go dig into this and find out that Kathleen is doing some shady illegal shit down on the side, obviously, but just on a direct comparison across to this, like what we're seeing with Spotify here, management would most likely come off and say, okay, bye, Kathleen, we don't fucking need you here.
Well, knowing what I know about Walmart employees, Kathleen is probably sleeping with the other cashier's husband. Why they can't work together. But
well, we're not going to go down that road with that right now. But
in real life, though, the person raising the complaint is definitely the one that's going to get fired.
Yeah, because if you cave to the person who's raising the complaint, that's the other side of it too. If you cave to that person, the person making the complaint is going to, oh shit, I've got power. I can get rid of anybody that I want, and you're going to start to see this.
They might not even fire her. They might just say, okay, well, are you going to turn in your 2 weeks? Or what Spotify did is they fired Neil Young. He didn't even take his stuff down. They took it down for him.
Yeah, I guess I could see that. Yeah, I definitely could see that. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I thought more of it was caving to Neil Young, but yeah, I could see it in that direction too.
They didn't wait till he quit. They fired him.
So, I mean, that's what we're seeing out of this here. Do you want to do the Canadian trucker thing, or you want to take some live chat first?
There's only a few live chats. We can go ahead and get through them, and then we'll be caught up.
Why don't you do that then?
I didn't think there was that many. Maybe I just can't find my place.
I think the last one you did was the one that Grant said with, I still don't know who Neil Young is, the Thanos one.
Yeah, I don't know where it is. I don't think I think this is where I'm at. C2K says freedom. UK government has just U-turned and is abolishing mandatory jabs for healthcare workers. I think somebody else earlier said that in the chat.
You got to go back a little ways further than that.
Sorry. We read all of these. I wish there was a way to mark it where we were at. We read these about Peter Dinklage.
Yep. 1821 is the last, should be the first, or 1921 for you. Should be the last one for you, 721.
Okay. MK Ultra liked your needle joke. Harvest Moon is a video game. I've never heard the song, says Grant. MK Ultra says game. Neil. I've never heard of the video game. Neil Young just made a documentary produced by Amazon Music. I have not seen it. I have not heard of it. I honestly, until this week, didn't even know Neil Young was still alive. MK Ultra said cowgirl in the sand. I'm not sure I remember what that's referring to. Is that a song maybe?
I can look. It's not one that I've heard of, but I can go look quick. I've got the research tab open.
Grant says J. Edgar, no one got the Sweet Home Alabama reference because they didn't know who Neil Young was. That's true. And then C2K made the comment about UK is just U-turn and is abolishing mandatory jabs for healthcare workers with only 24 hours left before the cutoff would meant 70, 80K of them being sacked. So they did it just in the nick of time, it sounds like. Grant says Aaron Rupert, the top definition for Rupert in the Urban Dictionary, to lie with impunity, a brazen statement with a focus on misleading, usually with intention of a predetermined outcome. I swear I went to the eye doctor. It's this middle range. I can see up close and I can see this middle range I'm having issues with. Grant says Joe Rogan needs to be put through the CNN filter. MK Ultra, I only listen to Saint Rogies when he has comics on. I like the show. I do too. That's one of the only times I do listen to Rogan is when he's got like Tom Segura or Ari Shaffir or somebody like that on. C2K says the left, MSN, and Joe's gang didn't mind when Joe Rogan had on Gupta, who came out with now proven lies. It's only when he hosts someone who challenges the narrative, then it's dangerous.
Yeah, because remember, he pulled Gupta on after Gupta accused him of horse paste.
Absolutely.
I listened to that one. That was a good one.
I did listen to that. I listened to probably parts of that one, not the whole thing. But a lot of the stuff that Gupta was saying, it's not that this proven lies now. It was proven lies at the time that he was saying it. It's not like it came out later that the information changed or the science changed or whatever. He was lying at the time. Arvolt likes your impression of Jordan Peterson, and so does MK Ultra. Arvolt, you had one job, blonde. Sorry. I was interested in the conversation where usually I try to keep track as it's happening, and we got engaged in conversations. That's the problem. And Grant's making fun of me for being a boomer.
You're Gen X, though, aren't you?
I am.
That's what I thought. I didn't think you were old enough to be a boomer.
I need boomer glasses. I need glasses to see a computer, apparently.
You use mine.
I've seen your glasses. I think that would make me more blind.
You think that'd be overkill, you think?
I think so.
All right. Let's talk about Canada. Well, not just a Canadian. Let's talk about actual Canada here. So throughout the week, and honestly, I've commented this out onto some other people's various Twitter posts, talking about the fact that I think this is what they're trying to cover up right now with the Rogan thing. But a convoy of truckers. Now, this is to some being said as the biggest convoy in history. Guinness World Records is denying that this is the biggest one in history, but according to some, this is the biggest convoy in history. A convoy of 50,000 trucks has reportedly crossed the Trans-Canadian. Wow, can I talk today or what the fuck? A convoy of 50,000 trucks has reportedly crossed the Trans-Canadian Highway, headed for Ottawa at this point. They are in Ottawa now. They're starting to take over some of the streets there. Approximately 5,000 to 7,000 people have joined them on the ground from Ottawa to oppose vaccine mandates, specifically vaccine mandates for truckers who are crossing over into the U.S. border and then coming back into Canada with product. Now, I've been looking at some of the pictures and some of the videos of this, and it looks like most of the trucks are bobtailed coming in. So, I mean, they're leaving their trailers behind, which I think was a stupid idea. But, I mean, we can go into the logistics of some of that as we discuss this. But, you know, Trudeau himself, first thing he did when he came out, when he heard about this, was try to say that, oh, no, this isn't a big deal. This is just a small, tiny minority of people who are out there that are just trying to make something happen here, and there's nothing to worry about. But after that, Trudeau suddenly got a case. Well, he didn't get he did get a case, apparently. He suddenly got a case of the coup. He got an exposure first, and then he had to go back.
Now.
Yes, I did too. But he supposedly got in contact with somebody with the COOF and had to isolate for 5 days, which the Canadian medical system said, no, you're fully vaccinated. You don't have to isolate. And now he's evacuated away from Ottawa to a secret location that nobody knows while these people are showing up in here. So I gotta start here first. What is it that you've heard about this so far? Because social media has been all over the place with this, and none of the mainstreams are talking about it at all.
One of the best sources on this whole thing is Viva Fry. I don't know if you follow him on Twitter or YouTube,
I don't.
But he was live streaming from Ottawa today and just talking. He's a lawyer, used to be a lawyer. He's very interesting. But first of all, it sounds like Trudeau's in hiding. He's, I don't know if he actually has COVID or not, but if he does have COVID after being triple vaxxed, he's proving their point. Like, he should have lied about it if he does have it. It's like, what are you doing? You're proving their point. I did see the press conference that he gave. I forget the word. The words he used was like, they have wrong ideas or something like that. It's a fringe minority with wrong ideas. That's kind of ridiculous. It's scary to have a leader say those things about their constituents. That's about it. I know they had like 400 more trucks show up today that came in overnight.
Yeah. And I talked a bit about the logistics of this because, I mean, obviously my job is redacted. I'm not going to tell anybody what my job is, but I do work around this stuff. And I understand, especially with having a CDL, with everything else off of this, the absolute pain in the ass that it is. Okay, let's say that even if they get a fifth of size there, they get 10,000 trucks coming through Ottawa, and then they just drop and park. Now, like I said at first, if it would have been me, I'd have said, bring your trailer too, because it's going to make it that much harder. But they come back out and just drop the trucks. They could sit back and block off traffic, not just for hours, not just for days. You know how long it would take to get enough semi-wreckers to pull 10,000 trucks out of fucking Ottawa?
A really long time, and they have enough storage space in them that they could live there for probably months.
And that's just bobtail tractors. I'm not talking about with trailers or anything, but still, to come out there to get the wreckers out there, because I mean, big truck wreckers. First off, they're not that common. Most city markets have one,
and a truck driver has to drive it. So
yeah. Well, and that's the other thing too, is to try to get somebody with a CDL to come back and drive the thing out there to go hook onto the truck and bring it out there. And I'm pretty sure that. And I don't know how Canadian CDLs work because I don't have one. I have an American one. But I'm pretty sure that in solidarity with this, the local wrecker driver would look like, hey, fuck you, eh? Exactly.
He'd probably say something with all due respect. I'm not going to do that, sir.
I can't hold these truckers out of here with good conscience.
I'm sorry. Sorry, I can't do it.
But that's the situation. Now we've got some video thanks to well, I know that what was it? Sully Blue, and I'm not going to put the volume on the Instagram one. He sent me a reel right away to show just how some of this is. This was back when they were in Saskatchewan. Back in Regina this was back on the 29th. and you just see it. Which again, I don't understand why there are 90s on the highway. I don't get that, but just seeing these trucks roll through Regina like this. I mean, this isn't a small protest.
Mm-mm.
This is drone footage coming up around Regina, and some of the truckers are going back out and blocking off the shoulder too. But I mean, you're 3 lanes wide of bobtail tractors in Regina.
Yeah.
Going through 1, 2, 3 90s that we see off of this. People off on the side. The kids are out playing. Yeah, this is your small minority right here.
The footage that I saw with people lining the streets was incredible. Just an incredible amount of people supporting them.
I want to see what else that we have off of this one here. Yeah, this was one of the first ones that came out here, and I mean, okay, so this video that I'm about to show here does make it seem like it's a smaller minority, but this is, I believe, this is much further west. Yeah, it doesn't say in any of the details as to where this is, but I mean, this one came out on the 23rd when this was all getting started. This tweet was posted 11:13 a.m. January 23rd, 2022. And this is... There they go, all bobtailed again. Canadian flags flying. There's a delivery van, there's a straight truck, and I mean, this isn't just semi-tractors, trailers either. I mean, there are pickup trucks that are involved in this convoy. Like I said, a delivery, a panel van type truck. So this is all over the place here, and as we see in the video, the top of the overpass lined with people. And again, this is 8 days ago, far west, far away from Ottawa, a small amount of people at this point compared to what we're seeing coming that's actually in Ottawa. But I wouldn't call this insignificant either.
Not
with this
at
all
all.
just getting organized.
Yeah, the live stream footage that I saw from this afternoon, there's many people. I would guess 50,000 plus. I'm not good at guessing crowds, but I would say just in Ottawa, in that square, that town square that they have, there's got to be 50,000 people there.
I don't know that there were 50,000 on the ground, but there were a good 10,000 on the ground, just people. Just from what we
went
saw
for blocks, though. It was just so spread out. I don't know. Like I said, I'm bad at numbers. So.
Well, and we got this one here. Here's some footage on the ground. I mean, that's not an insignificant number of people in Ottawa.
No, not at all.
But the cope is real. OFFS tweets out in response to this one here. Canada's population is 38 million. Even if 1 million people were there, that would be rounded up to 3% of the population. 3% is a small fringe minority.
But if 3% of the population got off their ass and went to Ottawa to make this protest, how many other people are in their homes supporting them?
But it's still a fringe minority.
You can keep thinking that, but when your shelves are empty because these truckers aren't delivering bread and milk and whatever else you need to consume and live, they have the power, and they know they have the power.
Prime Minister Blackface himself got into this. This was on the 26th where he made the speech. Right before, it was the day before, by the way, he decided that he needed to go back and isolate for 5 days. Let's listen to Prime Minister Blackface.
The small fringe minority of people who are on their way to Ottawa or who are holding unacceptable views that they're expressing do not represent the views of Canadians who have been there for each other, who know that following the science and stepping up to protect each other is the best way to continue to ensure our freedoms, our rights, our values as a country.
Next question.
You had something to say in the midst of that video?
Unacceptable views. How scary is that language coming from the leader of your country? Unacceptable views. That's 1984 shit. It's insane, the language that he's using there. I don't know if anyone else is taken aback by that wording that he used, but unacceptable views? I can have any views I want. And Canadians are just as free, well, almost as free as us. Canadians are supposedly free. They can have any views they want. There are no unacceptable views.
They're unacceptable views, eh?
Makes me mad.
So I do want to focus with Trudeau there too, and the fact that now, first off, that he said unacceptable views, and now the big story that came out of today. So apparently he's, well, he might be sick now. Nobody knows. Nobody has any idea what the fuck is going on with this, but
Hiding.
Apparently, yeah, that's actually, and that's not from some fringe Daily Wire sort of thing. This is coming straight from Insider, in which they're saying, yes, Justin Trudeau was moved to a secret location as thousands in Canada protest COVID-19 vaccine mandates for truckers and other restrictions. So, and this was interesting to me. And I thought about this for a second. And realistically, you remember, 2020? In the middle of this, when they had to put the White House on blackout mode because of the St. George riots that were getting so close to the White House? And they whisked the president, his family, and the Pence family as well, by the way, who all the leftoids worship now. But the Pence family as well, all had to get whisked away to the bunker. And your left-wing news outlets and their little minions over on Twitter, oh, Bunker Don, he's hiding in the bunker. He's filling up his diaper. He's so scared of everything.
If I had a bunker and Black Lives Matter was outside of my house and I didn't have a lot of ammo left, I'd probably go to my bunker too. Just saying.
You notice they're not saying this about Trudeau.
No,
they're not making fun of him for hiding in his bunker.
No, because he came up with this thing where he's got COVID-19, so he's got to self-isolate and whatever else. But he wouldn't be isolating in a secret location if that was just it. Like he's hiding somewhere because of these protests, which is fine. He's allowed to do that if he wants to. However, he shouldn't have said he had COVID because that makes it look really bad. If you're triple vaxxed and you got COVID, then these truckers have a point.
Yeah, because I mean, the vaccine doesn't do jack shit. And absolutely. I mean, the other big one that came out of this big protest that people are talking about is the fact that, you know, most of the people that are at the protests, especially given the statistics of the number of people in Canada, are probably fully vaxxed. So what are they bitching about? And statistically, you're probably right. Most of the people that are at this protest, and most of the truckers too, because they've already had to cross over into the U.S. and then come back to go to work, are probably at least double, if not triple vaxxed as well.
They're sick of the shit. It doesn't matter if they're vaxxed or not. They're sick of the shit. They're sick of the shutdowns. They're sick of the masks. This is not helping anything, and they know it. So even if they personally got the vaccine, it doesn't mean they can't stand up for someone else's rights not to get it if they don't want.
And that's the reason that I was going into that point of this too, because I mean, even when we see some of the mandates out here, some of the protests that are coming out of this, or one of the ones that they love to bring up when they talk about people that in this country that don't want to be vaccinated, oh, your dear leader Trump, he's fully vaccinated. Yeah, but he's against making you do it.
Yeah, good for him.
I don't give a damn about his vaccine status. I don't care.
No, and like they were talking about Ron DeSantis's booster status or something. I don't care. I don't care if he got it or he didn't. I don't care to know. I don't think he should have to say. I don't care. Do what you want to do. Just don't make me do anything I don't want to do.
Well, exactly. And what have I said? What have I said on Contemporary from the beginning? If you want to get the vaccine and you can't get a ride to there, you pick up the phone and you call your buddy Jay Edgar, and I will bring you to your appointment so long as you don't make me go in there with you. I will bring you. If this is what you want to do, if you think this is the best way to protect your career, your family, your health, or otherwise, if you think this is what's best for you, then you have to do what's best for you. I'm doing what's best for me right now. I'm making my decision. But I will help you if this is what you think that this is the best way for you to feed your family, finish your career, finish your schooling, whatever it is. If you think this is the best decision for you, I am not going to stop you from doing it. Plain and simple.
Yeah, I feel the same way. If people want
I
to
might
do
make
it,
fun of you for your cell reception, but I do a lot of that.
I should go get the vaccine just so I can make you come down here to drive me to my appointment.
Oh, you'll be fine. That stoplight transmission will slip a little bit, but after that.
Just don't remind me. I haven't driven my car in a while, so it might be getting worse. I don't know.
So that's what we see off of Canada. And I mean, there are people that are talking about this coming to the US, which I think that it absolutely should. Go down to the White House and see if Biden runs to the bunker too. No, he'll run to Camp David.
Probably.
Or Delaware.
Somewhere other than the White House.
Well, I'm sure that the Secret Service doesn't want to be with him in the bunker when he shits his fucking pants.
No, or he'll just get on Air Force One and fly around for a while.
Come on, man. But I mean, yeah, I mean, this comes down, and it's not about whether or not to get the vaccine. This is about the mandate. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the big mistakes that the Canadians and the people who are trying to downplay this made, was they thought to themselves, oh, well, you know, there's so many people out there that have already got the vaccine. These protests can't get that big. Whereas a lot of these people are looking at us, A, they're being told they have to get now another booster, and B, they're looking at their neighbors having to lose their jobs, lose their homes, some of their friends, some of their family members, and saying, hey, this isn't kosher. This isn't fucking cool.
Exactly.
So
even if they've been vaccinated, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm seeing out of this. If you don't have anything else to go along with it, I mean, that's what I see off of this. Nothing?
No. I think I've said a lot. I've said all I can say.
What is it that our live chat people are saying here while I sit up, and we'll probably talk a little bit about what's going on. Well, we got to talk about Breyer. We still got a lot to get over and not a lot of time left.
Life to the Max says Boomer is as Boomer does. C2K's hashtag the honkening. My husband said that I try hard. It's true, I'm a try hard. Which I saw that as it came through, and it was really hard not to laugh. Because I just heard him get home from work since we've been on the air. C2K, the Canadian people said, fuck this shit. And blackface Trudeau fled, like any good dictator does when the people finally stand up. Life to the Max said she did see some of Viva Fry's live stream today. It was really interesting to see somebody who was actually there on the ground and just kind of, like, it wasn't edited. It wasn't drone footage. It wasn't somebody speaking over it. It was just somebody who was there in the middle of it, you know? Which is where we got all that good Kyle Rittenhouse footage from somebody just being there with a camera in the middle of it. Not that anything like that happened, but it could. Who knows? Like to the Max, the truckers made me proud to be a American, eh? Canadians Unite. I think that was a combination of Canada Americans.
I have no idea.
I can barely read as it is. You can't make up words. Some annoying people besides Trudeau saying that's not that many people. Whiny voice implied. Sorry. It's not that many people. Grant said the meme about the memes about the honking have been great. I posted a few of them. MK Ultra, how y'all think this trucker thing gonna end? I think Trudeau's gonna give in. Personally, I think Trudeau's gonna give in. They're not gonna have to get any more boosters. He might say they have to have like the first 2 jabs and that's it, but they're gonna come to some agreement and they're all gonna go back to work.
I am worried, especially with some of the rhetoric that's gone around this, that they are going to try to false flag it. And I know that they're talking a little bit about that in the chat too, but they might try to false flag. I know that they've got the guy who's dancing on the tomb of the unknown soldier, and apparently there was one Nazi flag going through there as well.
There was one flag, there was one Confederate flag, and the guy had his own camera person with him. That was definitely
that's not suspicious.
Not suspicious at all. And the camera person looked very much like one of Trudeau's assistant people. Like, I don't know what they're called up there, but whatever Trudeau's people, it looked very much like somebody who has been seen around and in pictures with Trudeau a lot before. Like, the camera person wasn't wearing a mask. The guy with the flag completely covered. Like, the only person in the whole protest that was like so masked up you couldn't see who he was. Kind of like Patriot Front.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Like Patriot Front.
yeah. Life to the Max likes the Mad Max memes. Mr. Zed thinks it's going to end in an arm wrestling match. I think Trudeau will lose against one of those truckers. If they get to pick their best trucker against Trudeau, I really think probably they could pick any of the truckers against Trudeau. He would lose. Life to the Max said, I'm worried they might J6 it somehow. But even Canadian Antifa might be too polite to break windows. That's true. No, but the Canadian feds aren't too polite, and I'm pretty sure that's who was breaking the windows on J6. Mr. Zed says that's how it ends, and Life to the Max hopes so. Life to the Max says, but if UK is rolling back mandates, maybe the Commonwealth will follow. Possibly. I don't know how much, I'm not sure exactly how the Commonwealth laws fall, like how much they're influenced by like the UK these days, as far as like Australia or Canada or any of the other Commonwealth countries. I don't know if they're influenced at all. I know Queen Elizabeth's on their money. That's about it. Life to the Max says unacceptable views they are expressing. Yep, they don't have a First Amendment. Very true. Turns out Canadians aren't actually that free. Life to the Max, Grant had said that about the Canadians not being that free. Life to the Max, it says we barely do it either, but at least we have it officially. Yeah, technically we have the First Amendment. Grant said Trudeau is hiding. He's just going to wait for it to blow over. Canada had a chance to vote for something else and didn't. Life to the Max says, what happened to the stand up what you believe in? Stand up for what you believe in and express yourself. When has that been a thing? Apparently my mic is doing the weird thing again. Has anybody else heard that?
Yeah, a little bit here and there.
If my mic becomes a problem at people in the chat, let me know because I can adjust it on the fly. MK Ultra says, help me get jabbed, J. Edgar. You're my only hope. The best decision for me is another shot of whiskey, says Mr. Zed. He has not come upstairs from his cave since he got home from work. I don't know if he's got whiskey down there. He must. He's probably got it stashed everywhere. Quest Fanning is here. Good to see you too, Quest. Grant says Canadian Goose goes honk honk. Canadian trucks too. Stop talking about how hard it is for me to see the chat. Yes, I squint hard all the time. I can't see anything. If I get too close to it, then you can't hear me because I'm too close to the mic. I do appreciate Grant pointing out how old I am and how I can't see anything because of my old eyes every chance he has. Quest Fanning says, it'll never not be the truth that when she wins, she wins. Hard to hold my ground. Oh, I missed a chat from Quest that said he was busy tournamenting his daughter. She's getting good very quickly. Oh, it's on the air hockey table. I think I've seen some pictures of that online. Looks like Quest won the air hockey game. I'm not sure what's going on here. Mr. Zed says Life is the only one who got the trucker and arm wrestling reference. Geez, I might be almost as old as KTZed. He is almost as old as me.
I did get that reference too. I've not seen that movie, but I've seen parts of that movie. I know what he's talking about.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Over the Top with Sylvester Stallone.
Never seen it. We're talking an awful lot about movies tonight, aren't we? Trudeau is a blowhard, says Quest Fanning. Maria's here. And my mic seems to be getting better. And I'm still squinting to see the chat. If you guys would stop chatting. No, don't stop chatting. We like it when you chat. Oh, Ben Wild says, I tell you what, Joey Poopy Pants might slide a mess in his pants now and then, but Trudeau dines on the diaper fillet.
Oh.
Quest Fanning says, no Tito, but I'll lose Katie Franny eventually. And we'll circle back.
I don't think your hair is red enough for that one.
No.
All right. We do have to get through this, and we might actually have to stay a little bit long off this one, because I know this is a big one that we've got to get to here. So this week, Stephen Breyer announced, well, first the mainstream media announced, and then Stephen Breyer announced a day later, that Breyer is going to be retiring from the Supreme Court at the end of his term. Now, at the end of the term, we looked this up this morning, happens on October 22nd. So he will be, he's planning on retiring at the end of the term. His retirement will be contingent on whether or not Congress can come together, the Senate can come together and have his confirmation ready to go when he retires. The next term, of course, starting on January 27th for the Supreme Court after that. So, they get their nice 3 months off of this, but yes, Breyer will be coming back out of this. Now, this is an important retirement, and we've talked about it on both shows before, that this is one that's been in the conversation for quite a while, because this, Breyer is the oldest justice, obviously. A lot of people don't think that he has it in him to make it another 6 years, just in case Democrats lose the Senate and the presidency in 2024, honk honk. I don't think that could ever happen at this point. But with the just in case off of this, this is important too, because really honestly, and I've heard a lot of analysis talk about this, with Breyer saying that he's going to step down with his term, he's basically admitting that the Senate's probably going to lose, or Democrats are going to lose the Senate in 2022. Before we get into some of the details of this, what did you see on this initially?
I mean, I know he's probably stepping down for political reasons, but I don't fault him for wanting to spend time with his family in his last years of his life. You know, too many of these justices stay on the bench until they drop dead, and that's just not fair. He should be able to enjoy some semblance of retirement to spend time with his probably great grandchildren at this point, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, and I mean, that look at Ginsburg. Ginsburg was the classic example of that, because she wanted to stay on. First and foremost, she wanted to be there to have Hillary nominate her replacement first and foremost, and then she realized, like you said, she couldn't hang on. She fought to the bitter end at that point.
Absolutely.
And
she was trying.
With Ginsburg, it really was the bitter end too.
Yeah.
But I mean, with Breyer, this does seem like a political posturing situation, and like I said, this doesn't seem like for me when I look at Breyer, this looks like this is the opportunity to keep the balance of the court as what it is. But I mean, there does seem to be some politics that go along with this too, some political intrigue that goes with this. One of the big things that came out of this was Breyer came out and gave his retirement speech, and he pulled out a pocket constitution while he was doing so. He believes that the American experiment will prevail, and a constitution showed up in the same room as Joe Biden, and Joe Biden didn't burst into flames.
Crazy, I know.
Let's listen to what some of that sounded like.
Thank you, Mr. President. That was terribly nice. And believe me, I hold it right here. It's wonderful. And I thought about what I might say to you, and I'd like to say something I enjoy is talking to high school students, grammar school students, college students, even law school students, and they'll come around and ask me what is it you find particularly meaningful about your job? What sort of gives you a thrill? And that's not such a tough question for me to answer. It's the same thing. Day one almost. Up to day, I don't know how many. But what I say to them is, look, I sit there on the bench, and after we hear lots of cases, and after a while, the impression, it takes a while, I have to admit, but the impression you get is, as you well know, this is a complicated country. There are more than 330 million people, and my mother used to say it's every race, it's every religion, and she would emphasize this, and it's every point of view possible. And it's a kind of miracle when you sit there and see all those people in front of you, people that are so different in what they think, and yet they've decided to help solve their major differences under law. And when the students get too cynical, I say, go look at what happens in countries that don't do that. And that's there. I can't take this around in my job. People have come to accept this Constitution, and they've come to accept the importance of a rule of law.
I like some of the Arvold memes, especially with this particular spot where he's saying that he's pulling out this pocket Constitution to read it for the first time.
Yeah. I think this justice actually may have read that Constitution before. Some of the other ones, Sotomayor, for instance, I don't think have actually read the Constitution. As far as justices go, I do think that he did try to follow the Constitution more than a lot of them do.
Right, and I do believe that too. And I mean, Breyer liked his job. He really did. Yeah. He liked to talk. He liked to give the opinions. He liked to actually orate what it was that he was doing. So I think to some extent, we are losing a good justice off of this, but some of this is for political purposes too. Now, Biden has already come out and said that he will follow through with his campaign promise to nominate a black woman to the Supreme Court. And I want to talk about that for just a second, because there are two names, and we went through the full list, and for the interest of time, we'll probably just stick it out to the two top ones on the list. Now, first, before I get into any of this, Biden has said that he doesn't have a short list, and he hasn't made a decision on who this is going to be. So a lot of this, what we're seeing right now, is speculation from CNN themselves. But there are two names that I want to focus on this when we talk about this. This is coming to us from CNN. The two names that have come to the top of this, and I mean, the name at the top is the one that's been talked about since the beginning, are D.C. Circuit Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson and California Supreme Court Justice Leandra Kruger. Now, going through, and now CNN is going to spin this in the best possible way for both of these women, and I accept that, but to go through what little bit of resume that CNN has put through with both of these women are tremendously qualified for this position. Tremendously. They've got the pedigree, they have got the education credentials, they've got the on-the-job experience for this. But my biggest question about this, given what it is that Obama says, is if they do get nominated to the Supreme Court and they do get confirmed, is their entire career going to be marred with the fact that they might have been a diversity hire?
Absolutely. And they should be the ones that are upset about this. They should be put on the Supreme Court because of their credentials. By him announcing it, even before he was elected, and then again, right before he's going to nominate somebody, really puts them in a bad spot. I don't know if I was in their shoes, if I would even accept the job at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I know that you are deep into the repeal of the 19th territory, and I understand and respect the position that your opinion comes from off of this. But, I mean, Ketanji Brown Jackson is, again, I'm taking CNN's word for this, and for me to do this complete justice, I would actually have to go dig through her full resume by myself, not just take CNN's, but just to take CNN's word. This is probably one of the most qualified justices or potential justices that we've had out there for a while. I would say that her qualifications are up above Amy Coney Barrett's, just looking at the resume that CNN put forward.
At this point, I would just take it as a win if we could get somebody on the Supreme Court that's not an activist.
And I think Ketanji would be that person. Well, again, I'm taking CNN's word for it, but she seems, from her career and everything that she's done, and some of the case files that she's had to look for, that she's not an activist.
I would want to look into her case files to see. I would want. It's just there's so many activist judges out there now that we're surprised when we get a judge that's not an activist judge.
Yeah.
So I would want to see her record on rulings and what she's allowing into evidence. Some basic things. Even if I watched one trial from start to finish of hers, I could probably get a read on if I think she would make a good justice or not.
And like we've talked about this a little bit off mic too, because you've talked about doing either a solo video or a live stream talking about, like, you are really good at digging through these case files. So like what you did with the Crystal Kaiser thing, which I still love to troll about, but I do understand the position you're coming from and looking into the case. Like, you're really good at that. So you would be the one that would be the one to look through this kind of stuff and find it, because you seem to understand the law, the legalese that goes along with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would actually be interested in seeing some of that from you.
We'll see. I'm just not good at talking is my problem, or editing, or being on camera, or listening to the sound of my own voice. Any of that. I'm not good at any of that. I can read. I'm good at the tedious stuff. I could read a whole case file. I could watch a whole trial. I understand it, and I could talk to you about it over drinks. I could tell you all about it. It's kind of intimidating just being on camera even now, let alone solo. Jeez Louise. I don't know.
But what was it? I know that our friend, we do have to throw some F's in the chat for our friend Arvold here as well. I don't know if you saw this name or not. No, he didn't die, but he had another tragic event happening. Arvold tweets out when Ayanna Pressley says it's time for a black woman on the Supreme Court. On the 26th, Arvold tweets out, I was abused by whomever they nominate next.
Oh, poor Arvold.
Arvold even donned the red dress and the white bonnet for it. It's indelible on the hippocampus, you know.
Yes. That's a pretty good meme.
I like that one. Now, I do want to talk about what is coming up for this. Now, Susan Collins has already said there's no need to rush for any of this. There's no need to hurry for any of this, and she's had her throat jumped down for this. And Hirono has come out as well and told us that Republicans need to be open-minded to Biden's SCOTUS pick as she continues to bash Trump justices. That's according to Fox News. So, I mean, this is going to be a showdown. And you knew this was going to be a showdown from the beginning. I mean,
Absolutely.
everybody... Do you need to go take care of Xena?
No, I'm hoping Mr. Zed is hearing that through the microphone, is going to come take care of it right now.
Well, you might actually be in a position to make that suggestion too, as you just did. Well, I guess we'll see if we see the basement door open behind you, because I know where he's going to be coming up from, actually, because I've been in your house before. One of the things, and especially looking at this, I am worried about the timing. I'm suspicious about the timing of this, because this seems to me like a situation, and we've seen this actually now, 3 elections in a row, where it does seem like either retirement or honk honk if Ruth Bader Ginsburg did die before this all happened, where this was being set up to make the elections into a single issue election in either situation. I really do feel like Justice Kennedy stepping down for Kavanaugh to take his place.
Yeah.
Like, that was a situation where they were setting up for that to be the midterm thing, so they'd have a single issue to run on in the midterms.
Absolutely.
And
it always happens around the same time frame right before the midterms as well.
I think Kennedy was a little bit later than this. Because wasn't that in March, I thought?
I don't remember exactly, but I do remember it was just before the heavy campaigning and stuff like that. They needed some fodder for their campaign ads.
Which, and again, I mean, if you're coming in a situation both in like the presidential election with Scalia and Ginsburg both passing away right before election time, with Ginsburg, I mean, 65 million people have already voted by this point. Love to see the records and the numbers that went along with that, because nobody knows how many people actually even voted at this point. Honk honk, 81 million votes. Honk honk, 2 scoops of ice cream. Honk honk, most popular president in history, even more than Barack Obama.
Most votes ever.
Most votes ever.
In the middle of a pandemic. Most votes ever.
But then, yeah, like I said, with Kennedy and now with Breyer, this is going right into a midterm. And a contentious midterm, too.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't fault him for stepping down and them making these political chess moves, because this is exactly what the other side does. And it's better than making somebody stay on the court until the day they die. They did Ginsburg dirty by making her stay there. You know, she didn't want to be there. She was being held up like Weekend at Bernie's at the end. She needed to go home and spend time with her family. And the Democratic Party just did her so dirty by making her stay there.
Yeah, and it's the worst part of this is I mean, with the fights over Kavanaugh and Barrett fresh in everybody's mind and memory. I mean, it would be really easy. And I thought about this, and I talked about this a little bit too at the time with Barrett. And I'm just thinking to myself how much Democrats were trying to delay the confirmation of Barrett until after the midterms. They were trying to do this. Whereas if this was a Democrat-controlled Senate and Hillary Clinton was the president and Ginsburg, well, let's just say that, not just Ginsburg, but somebody had passed away, and yeah, there's a vacuum cleaner going on just outside the door here.
I was wondering what that was.
Yeah, it's a vacuum cleaner. With say a conservative, say Clarence Thomas passed away on the day before Election Day with a Hillary Clinton presidency and a Senate Democrats in control of the Senate. They wouldn't have taken several days like it did with Barrett. Hillary Clinton would have nominated somebody. 4 hours later, they'd have had her vetted, and they'd have been voting 8 hours later.
Absolutely. I totally 100% agree with that. It's just how they do.
Yeah. And they're not afraid to come out and say that they just want to do it to win either. That's another thing.
And I really hope that the Republican side does not pull the shenanigans that the Democrats did for Amy Coney Barrett and for Brett Kavanaugh, because it's low when they do it, and it's just disappointing when the other side does it. Like, I almost expect it from the Democrats, but it's just, it makes me kind of embarrassed and sad when the Republican side does it.
Well, and I mean, if it was me doing this, if I was the one who was in charge of the Senate on the Republicans, if I was the minority leader in the Senate, and this came to my table just now, and it was a Democrat president replacing a Democrat-appointed justice who was very liberal on the court, I would stop, I would look over and say, okay, well, we're going to give them a unanimous vote. Whoever they do, just let's skip the hearings, let's put whoever they want on the court and get it in. So it's done and it's over. Rob them of the single-issue vote. Because that, again, I do think that they're trying to do this, to make it a single issue coming into the midterms. Well, you need to vote Democrat in the Senate, because otherwise the evil Republicans are going to block Joe Biden's only nominee.
Yeah.
If you don't give us the Senate, then it's going to sit vacant forever. You need to do this right now. Give us the Senate or else.
Yeah.
Or your abortion rights might be taken away.
But it doesn't change anything. They still don't have control. It's not like it was one of the justices that votes more constitutionally that's leaving. This replacement is not going to make that big of a difference. But I think the general American public are too dumb to understand that.
Well, like I say, they're trying to paint the picture off of this. The picture of, well, this seat might sit vacant for 6 years now. Or 4 years, or however the fuck many years it's going to be. Donald Trump might get to nominate the person unless you give us the Senate. Yeah. I guarantee Democrats are going to try to drag this out past the midterms.
Possibly, yeah. They try a lot of dirty stuff. I wouldn't put any of this past them.
So, yeah, and I think that Ketanji Brown would be supremely qualified for this. I really do. I know you're probably going to stand against me off of that, but really just looking at some of her record, I think she'd be supremely qualified for this.
I don't know enough about her. I need to dig into some of her cases, and I need to see what she puts on social media.
But the other side of that, of course, and this is a question that's been brought up in a couple different Discord servers that have talked about this, would she recuse herself from affirmative action cases?
See, this is why she needs to not accept the job in the first place, like I was saying earlier.
Because it does,
it really does put a shadow on her whole job, her whole career. Like, this is supposed to be, being elected to the Supreme Court should be the pinnacle of any lawyer or judge's career or lifetime. And it just casts a shadow on that for whoever gets nominated.
Well, yeah, and again, I mean, the first thing that we heard about the nominee, the very first thing that Biden said about the nominee is going to be a black woman. That sounds like affirmative action to me. And that's somebody who should be recusing themselves because of it.
Yeah. I doubt they will. I mean, whoever gets nominated won't recuse themselves. But the fact that it would leave the question there would make me so mad if I was that person, especially if I had the qualifications that she does. Or whoever gets nominated is going to have the qualifications, I hope. But they're qualified enough to get the job on its own. So for him to taint it like this is just, it's kind of sad for them.
Looks like Quest Banning actually had the same idea back at 7:30. So they were already talking about that with affirmative action, and that is something that we need to question and wonder about what's going on with that. So I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that they do it right, or do you think that we screw around and find out?
I think they're going to do it right, personally.
All right.
We'll see. Only time can tell. I should say I'm hoping that they do it right.
And I know that we're running late right now. I know that Mr. Zed's probably hungry, so we got to get you out there so you can make him his dinner. Or order his dinner. I'm not sure which way you're going to do this here, but I do have one last little bit of surprise stupidity for you for the night. We won't do the midterm lookup. We won't do the Ukraine stuff for right now. We'll probably look a little bit more into that, but I do have some surprise stupidity for you, and this one comes this week from our good friend Elon Musk, the founder of Tesla, because he is dipping his fingers into cryptocurrency once again and trying to manipulate the markets. So reading this week from Insider for surprise stupidity, Elon Musk says he'll eat a Happy Meal on TV if McDonald's accepts Dogecoin payments.
I mean, I'd like to see it.
Elon
Also, if
Musk,
this is happening, I need to buy some Dogecoin real quick. If McDonald's is going to start accepting it.
yeah, well, we could talk about some of that in a sec here. Let's go on with this. Elon Musk on Tuesday appeared to urge McDonald's to accept Dogecoin as payment, saying he'd eat a Happy Meal on TV if the chain did so. Last week, Billy Marcus, the co-founder of Dogecoin, replied to a McDonald's tweet featuring a picture of the fries, saying, "I want a fry." McDonald's then replied to Marcus's tweet with a picture of a Shiba Inu, the mascot of Dogecoin. Musk, the CEO of Tesla and SpaceX, tweeted on Tuesday, "I will eat a Happy Meal on TV if at McDonald's accepts Dogecoin." McDonald's didn't immediately reply to Musk's tweet or respond to Insider's request for comment on the matter. Responding to Marcus's tweet last week, another user tweeted McDonald's, "If you guys accepted Doge, I would go more often." McDonald's replied, "We appreciate hearing your interest and continuously evaluate the payments experience."
They're considering it. I doubt that if they're going to accept a crypto, it's going to probably be Bitcoin, honestly.
Most likely. I would say that. But that goes on to, because I talk about Bitcoin on the top of every contemporary.
Yeah.
And one of the things, what do I always say? The hardest part about any cryptocurrency, except for Bitcoin in some certain markets, because there are some markets that do accept Bitcoin as payment. I know there's some sub shops in California where you can pay in Bitcoin. You can buy a Tesla with Bitcoin. You can do some stuff in New York with it. But the hardest part about being a cryptocurrency is it's essentially a savings account right now. My Doge is a savings account because I need to turn it back into US dollars before I can spend it.
Yep. Exactly.
And I get taxed on it for turning it back into US dollars.
Could you imagine if the only place you could spend it was McDonald's?
I'd have a lot more Frappe caramels.
You could either turn it into American dollars, or you could have a lot of McDonald's Happy Meals, like a shit ton.
One of the things that goes with this too, and I mean, Musk is trying to do something. It's like he's trying to make Doge happen, and it's like fetch. It's never going to happen. Which is a shame, because I managed to grab a $20 bill worth of Doge when it was at 0.3 cents a coin.
Yeah.
And now it's 15 cents a coin, and I'm not rich, but I'm happy.
It made money at least.
I'm not rich by any means. It's not life-changing money, but I'm happier than the Happy Meal.
Yeah. There you go.
But there again, I mean, I can either sit on it forever, which I'm probably going to do, or I can spend it at McDonald's. So there's got to be a place to spend it. Yeah. Otherwise, again, it's a savings account with a variable yield, and not even a really high yield. A variable yield.
It's similar to just having bought a stock, like you bought Apple stock or something. It's either going to go up or it's going to go down. It's playing the market.
And if you want to do anything with it, you sell it and turn it back into US dollars.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, but there again, Elon is trying to influence the crypto markets again. Dude, I looked at this picture of him that's on the article, and I thought maybe he just had some like massive earplugs. I couldn't tell what was going on with that bandana behind his head. I thought he had the hipster ear thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a creepy shot they got of him there.
All
He
right.
does look like a lizard person. Not gonna lie.
All right, let's see what these guys are doing.
All right. MK Ultra says, "Wear your mask and take your pills. Now a whole generation is mentally ill." I believe that's song
Kid
lyrics
Rock.
from Kid
Yeah,
Rock.
that's Kid Rock.
So bad.
I know I listened to Daily Ignoramus for the first time in a while today, and we just went back and forth over that song.
Oh, it was bad. Although I did enjoy that more than the country music we went over today. Life to the Back said, "LOL, I don't know the movie either, just thought it was funny." Ben Wild, that means he eats boneless churd a la mode. I think we were talking about Trudeau there.
I think so too.
Mr. Zed said, "I had so much hope for you, Life to the Max." Marie says, "Turd bone, LOL." I don't remember what we were talking about. Sorry, my apologies. Life to the Max said, "Sorry, Mr. Zed, for not knowing the movie reference." Quest Fanning, "Brady retiring before 50 would be bigger. Bigger, please. Stranger, please. Jogger, please. Surprise than Ice Cream Man." Good for Breyer. Good for Breer. Bitter. I have no idea what's going on with these chats right now. I'm just reading them. Grant says, "I still believe Ginsburg was dead for a while, and they tried to pretend she was alive." I think so too. I really, towards the end they were posting pictures that were proven to be like from 6 months before, like pretending like they just happened. I don't know if you remember all that when that was going on.
I do.
But it was weird. Like, I think they were Weekend at Bernie's dating her. And Mr. Zed says, "Weekend at Bernie style," Grant. Yes. That's what I was thinking. Grant says, "Oh, what's this? Breyer does know what a constitution is?" More so than like it's a scale. It's like a sliding scale, and just more so than some of the other justices that don't understand how state laws and federal laws work. Life to the Max says, "I thought they were Weekend at Bernie RGB, but maybe not, because they would have manipulated her exit to their advantage." I think they just couldn't get away with it any longer. I think it was coming out. I think they would have if they could have, but people were catching on. Breyer's creepy as F, MK Ultra says. Breyer with the Seawall radio voice. Quest Fanning said that. Life to the Max says, "He seems like someone from an old movie." He does, and his storytelling reminds me of my grandpa. Like, just the way he was speaking just reminded me of like just sitting down for some tea with my grandpa telling a story about the olden days. Mr. Zed's asking if Breyer sniffs kids too. I don't think so. I think that's strictly a Biden thing. Quest Fanning says, "Meeting Seawall in person, smarter and better. Thumbs up, cheers." Grant says, Biden is going to diversity hire. So we are going to get an idiot like Sotomayor who turns out to be incompetent. I don't think that's going to happen this time. I think we're just judging by the credentials of the women who he's already spoken about, which, don't get me wrong, it could happen. But because of who he's looking at, I don't think that's going to happen. But I think she's going to have that shadow over her, like I was saying earlier, whether she's qualified or not.
Well, and also, one of the other things to keep in mind, though, is also look at Biden's last diversity hire.
That's true.
I
almost forgot about her for a whole day. Quest Fanning, I'm not going to read that.
Pray for Quest Fanning.
Pray for Quest Fanning. Marie says, "Any relation to Freddie?"
Leandra Kruger.
Now I have to pre-read Quest's tweets, or not tweets. I have to pre-read his chats before I read them out loud. I don't trust him anymore. Quest Manning says excluding herself on cases related to affirmative action ? And he said that I had a good point about something, but I don't remember what it is. Life to the Max says they're too opportunistic to decline. Quest Fanning says, thank you, Katie. Not an activist. Not an activist would be great. Life to the Max says, I am not hopeful for a non-activist. I am very hopeful for a non-activist. I think I'm just in a good mood today. I'm very hopeful about a lot of things today regarding this. And if you catch me tomorrow, I might not feel the same way. Usually I'm pretty pessimistic about the shenanigans that I think Democrats are going to pull. Marie says she looks a lot like Omarosa from The Apprentice. Now that, Omarosa's not, I don't know. Omarosa's an activist. Let's just put it that way. She should have never had a job with the Trump administration. I'll tell you that much. Quest Fanning says he aced AP history. We have F's in the chats for
Arvold. Poor Arvold.
Poor Arvold. Quest Fanning says her. Oh no, I mean send her. Oh no, Senator Hirono.
Senator Hirono. Hirono.
Yes, Senator Hirono. Oh no. Quest Fanning says expedited. Quest Fanning says J. Edgar has the hardest rock in the hall. Ron Helton. Wow, still on, just got back. Hi, Ron Helton. Welcome back. Hope your errands went well. Ron Helton says most of the stores around here are still closing early since the beginning of the coup. Quest Fanning says the Dems want activists. Normies just want justices that are not making the law from the bench. That's true. Normies and the rest of everybody who's not a Democrat activist. I'd be perfectly happy with somebody who's just not making the law from the bench, who's just interpreting the Constitution. That's their job. Life to the Max says, I think they should nominate Diana Ross. She is most supremely qualified. Nice. Ron Hilton says the singer. Oh, yes, I get it. Yes, Ron. Ron Helton says, I'm sure Elon can find a franchise that will accommodate him. Or he could just build his own.
He could. He probably will.
Life to the Max is asking if he owns Dogecoin.
He doesn't own all of the Dogecoin, the code for it, but he owns a lot of it.
Yeah. Life to the Max says he better play with the toy too. On TV with his Happy Meal. Yeah. Ron Helton says it'll be a toilet if you don't exchange it for something solid. He's talking about.
Ron is anti-crypto.
Oh yeah. Quest Fanning says evaluate a sound about equality, fake and gay. Evaluates sounds about equally fake.
I don't know what he's trying to say there.
I think Quest might be drinking tonight. Him and Mr. Zed both. I think they're probably chatting with each other in a separate chat somewhere, just drinking whiskey. I think Quest is in my basement right now, actually. Life to the Mac says it would just become a McDee's gift card. A gift card. I speak German now.
Gift card.
Gift card. Quest Fanning's winning the next challenge. End of story.
Yeah, because we keep talking about fucking McDonald's and how much we want to eat of it.
I don't. McDonald's is disgusting. It makes me sick every time I eat it now. That's how long I haven't eaten at McDonald's, is that it literally makes me ill when I eat it. Ron Helton says the workers at the grocery store are still being made to wear masks. I don't know why. Most of them caught the coof this past summer.
We did. Steven is hosting us, Quest fanning threw a diamond at us and said, make them look at Amy Coney Barrett, etc. And he says, fucking spelling with a diamond. I can see that over on my, you can't see that on the main chat, but I can see that over on the
I think we were
monitors.
just about done anyway. Is there anything else on D-Live? Is it D-Live we're being hosted on?
We're being hosted on D-Live. Quest is asking about the diamonds. Ron Helton has asked if we can hear the Canada anthem again. I think we can accommodate that. Even if it's quietly, we can accommodate that.
I only know the first 2 words of that anthem.
I think most people only know the first 2 words of that anthem. And with that, we're done. I think we're going to head out of here for the day. So I'm not going to salute the Canadian flag. They suck. Well, they're becoming less sucky right now. So
They still need to keep their maple to themselves.
But we have got to head out of here for the day. So thanks everybody who came by and chatted with us in the live chat here. Everybody who kept us honest, on point, through the jokes, through the dimes, through the donations. You guys all rock, and we'll figure out how to distribute the donations here, because I got to figure out what the exchange rate is on lemons at this point. So we'll get that out distributed. We'll get the math going and everything else going along with that. But with that, we are out of here for the day. I will be back here tomorrow with more Contemporary, so come back and join me 7:15 a.m. Central Time for Contemporary, for news, headlines, and commentary and conversation. You don't have anything upcoming that I know of other than next week's show, correct?
Next week's show. Follow me on Twitter.
And if you do want to finish the conversation with me, you can find us. The Discord has been going on throughout the live chat here, so you can go back and check that out. We are both in the Discord, or if you want to finish the conversation with me, you can follow me on Twitter. That is at EdsBlog Twitter with a 1 in place of the I. If you want to follow my wonderful co-host, tell them where they can find you.
On Twitter at KTZed ma'am.
Go and check that out as well. Finish the conversation. There's some great memes. There's some wonderful times over there, and a lot of good stuff, a lot of good content, and a lot of good conversation over there as well. So go back and check that out as well. And with that, we're going to sign off. And as I always say at the end of the show, never take the words of bloggers, podcasters, or journalists as gospel. Find all the facts and draw your own conclusions. And with that, while you lead us out with some last words, I'm going to see if we can find somebody to raid over here. So why don't you lead them out with some last words?
Hope you all have a great week. Bye, guys.
Take care. Let's do this one.